Good morning. We are having technical things going on around here. And so we are trying to make sure everybody can hear us.
Hear
And
you now.
Deb is here.
I
I'm here.
am.
And Deb, can you hear me?
I can. And
Life is good.
welcome back, Jill. I
Thank
missed
you.
you.
I missed
Everybody
being
missed you.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a time.
It's been a time.
Yeah, so for those of you who are listening afterward, Jill is back after taking off several weeks on and off because my mother was at end of life and then passed away. We had her funeral and burial last week. So this week has been sort of semi back to work, although the last day or two have been about the loss of a good friend's mom who died the same day as my mom. So
Ah,
my thoughts are with the Singer family today. Again, they are waking up after all of their services just completed yesterday.
wow.
So yeah, we had two friends from childhood onward who lost their moms on the exact same day.
That's that's
It
sort
was
of
something.
it's a interesting combination. And in the alive world, I
Yeah.
was just saying, Kate's friends from Australia, and she went to college with one of them. They said, we can't imagine not being at your mom and stepdad's house like we have for all these years. And then when those moments end, it's just weird. It's not like, it's your bio parents, but it's the friends of your parents. And it's just
Yeah.
another weird feeling.
It's all the sorting and the you really are closing out this whole life that two people shared or that you shared with a
Right.
parent. And my friend Mona and I talked about that yesterday. My mom collected stuff, her mom collected stuff, and now it's, oh, now what? Right?
Now what? That's
Now
right.
what? And how do you have time for that? Because I looked around the room yesterday, which is why I put up the topic for today. How do you do grief when you have to do life? And there was this letter written to, I think, Ask Amy at the Washington Post. And the woman said, I'm an American, but I live in Europe now. And when my mom died, I had a month off. And if I needed more time, they gave it to me. And then
Mhm.
when I was having to sort things out and it sent me into depression, I got time off and nobody questioned. And they weren't even allowed to call and ask me when I was coming back.
That's in
And
Europe or here in the States?
that's in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And here in the States, we finally have a federal law that says if you have 25 or more employees, you have to give your employees 3 days time for bereavement if they are a full-time employee. And 3 days is,
That's not enough to when the bank is going to open, or the public health, wherever you pick up your death certificates, plus the bank, plus
you have to go to a funeral. You got, some people have a rosary. There's sometimes the burial. For my mom, the burial was separate from the funeral because we did National
that's right.
Cemetery. Like there's things, right?
Yeah. When my mom died, and this was in 98, um, I I guess I didn't really ask for permission. I just said I will not be back until I can come back. And because she was dying for 2 weeks, right? It
Yeah.
was that sudden. And then she died. And then I took one more week off. And it's not like I didn't have the time. And I appreciate, because it does put people in the lurch
It does.
to cover for you or take this. In your case, you have clients that are clamoring, and they don't want to see another therapist, and they don't,
And they don't want to push to come back because I am a transparent grief therapist. When my
right,
mom was dying, the message went out, Jill's mom is dying, and she'll see as many as she can in the times that she has available. And
right.
then In the time after, she will see as many as she can in the time available, but she's taking time.
Right.
But
Exactly.
not many people have that ability to do. My younger daughter couldn't fly out
Hmm.
because she had a doctor's appointment. So she was in the air when my mom died. And
Mm.
then she couldn't have more time off. So she was at the house with us, but she didn't attend any services. And she couldn't get time off to watch the live stream with the family. She had to watch it afterward. All of that is doable. It's just different from being able to say, time out, folks. When someone has
Right.
had a loss,
Right.
they need the chance to be present. Even if there's no service at all, they need a
Yeah,
chance to attend to themselves, right? And I
exactly.
see it in my clients all the time. I know you do too.
I do. I, I, well, many people know last week I was in my car in a parking lot because there was internet there.
Because your
And
house.
I was in the throes of disaster grief, man made, not man made, God made, whatever, natural disaster grief. And I just want everybody to know it took a while. And my husband, sometimes the guys aren't like talking about their feelings, but I'd be checking in and he'd say exactly, he goes, I'm overwhelmed.
Right.
And it wasn't even like we could ask for a lot of help because there were too many organizational stuff. So you couldn't even, you needed professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And so this entire week, in fact, Daryl said, "Oh my goodness, I thought it was at 3." No, that was yesterday's meeting. So he ran out to have an 11:30 meeting with the insurance adjuster and brought all the pictures and blah 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 blah. It just so hopefully in a few weeks things will be able to put the church back together within a month. Yeah.
I was expecting you to get a pair of red sparkly boots with striped socks and stick them underneath the edge of the church with the tree on top of it.
I actually have for Halloween something like that. And I usually have it sticking out of our mailbox or
Right?
or the ground. Yes, I could have easily because I have them.
Illinois has
So,
been beaten up. I saw images this week of whole cornfields that were just blown flat. The entire crop is gone.
yeah, here's a new word for a lot of our visitors to our podcast and Griefcast here. It's called derecho,
Yeah.
and derechos are not tornadoes; they're straight line winds,
We have them here
or
in the
they're like a
Southwest.
wind and they crisscross like
Mm-hmm.
this. And I had never felt the need to do this, but I actually hung out in our closet with Oscar, my cat. He was okay as long as I was petting him, and I just played games on my phone for about 20 minutes, and then I came out and I looked outside and I go, "Uh-oh." So we had some damage with our trees and back, but it didn't impact our house.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that poor church building is, oh, it's just
Yeah. Well,
heart
it's
wrenching.
all getting fixed up, and as soon as the roof is fixed, we
Yeah.
can, and then the power has, so before the power comes back on, they have to make sure it's safe for the power to come back on
Yeah.
because our entire breaker box got ripped from, and the inside cords pulled out. So, uh-huh,
Wow.
uh, from
Glad
the
no one was in the
outside and in
building.
the inside. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong win, eh? And it was, well, it was also from the tree falling. And
Mhm.
Daryl was in the church when the other half fell. And I ran, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah." It was scary. He found out he could run now with his knee.
I bet he's glad.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So,
Wow.
wow. Yeah,
So how do
there's
you do the things? How do you manage life when you've got to manage insurance claims and notifying church members or supporting other folks who are in grief? How
yeah,
do we
yeah.
do that?
You know, I'd like to say the first thing that's most important is you go to this space right here and you say, I'm okay. And with that, I'm okay is a type of forgiveness and acceptance. This is the best I can do today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it starts from within. I mean, it's sort of like here. Uh the best I can do, this is my potty humor that gets me through everything. The best I can do would be to stand up and give my husband a kiss goodbye, right? Because I don't want to miss out on those moments. But sometimes I'm in the bathroom when he has to leave. So I have to yell through the door, bye. Let me know. I'll talk to you later. Love you. You know what I mean? It's not the best I can do, but that is the best I can do. So it really starts from within as as the counselor, as the grief coach, as the nurse. There are going to be some days in nursing, and there were plenty of those days when I had to put on, as you do, even though you don't like to talk about your stuff with your clients, but you can say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's in the process of dying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, remember I said I came back the week after my mom died? And because it was tuberculosis day and I was in charge of tuberculosis for the county, boom, the TV cameras were there. They wanted to do a piece. And I looked them in the eye and I said, my mom died a week ago, was the funeral or something like that. And I said, so I've got cotton for brains. I
Mm-hmm.
just said it straight up. I
Yeah,
have cotton for brains. You may have to do some creative editing. I'm not all here. I'll do my best.
that's
We don't
awesome.
even, and I just said it straight up the way you would say straight up to your clients. My mom's in the process of dying. My mom has died. Da da da. And then everybody gets a little wiggy because nobody wants to talk about this stuff, right? Like, oh, okay, okay, you
Except all
know,
my clients are grief clients, so yeah, they are like,
yeah,
oh, now you really get it. Like I didn't get it
yeah,
before.
like you
I'm
didn't get
kidding.
it
My
before,
clients are
but
wonderful people, but yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
it's an additional kind of a connection.
When Daniel was talking to me and he's trying to support me, and I said, have you ever had a natural disaster happen? He said, in Texas, we were in Tornado Alley. And he goes, yeah, when I was 8, half my house was gone when we came out of the basement or whatever. Half the house. Or the next time it happened, our house was okay, but all the property was gone. It's like I needed to know.
You needed validation
I
that
needed
you got there.
validation. So So that's what I think. The very first thing is, as the people that are the caregivers, it's going to happen. Self acceptance and forgiveness,
Hmm.
and because if you're a perfectionist, you're doomed.
Yeah, perfectionists don't do grief well because they want to do it right, and there is no right.
Correct.
It's just how you need to do. And
Right.
it's also not letting other people tell you how to
how to
do,
do it.
or what to do, or how fast to do, or because there's so many things that are involved,
Exactly.
right? Do you need to get things cleared out quick? Can you take your time? And it may be emotional that's causing that, or it may be financial. What happens if there are taxes coming up and this house is worth more than God and you're going to have to pay the taxes on it? Then you
That's
got to
right.
clear out faster to get it sold before the taxes hit,
Right.
right?
Right. So what would you think is like another part of self-care and while you have to do life? What do you think is another part, Jill?
One of the things that I emphasize with my clients and that I have listened to myself this last couple weeks is, although grievers don't sleep well at night, all through the night, they need to get enough rest, because you're right, brains don't function well.
Mm-mm.
And you have so much going on in your head about all the things that have to happen. Primarily if you're the person who's got things that they're responsible for, but anybody else who's had a loss, there's still things you feel like you've got to get done and process, and so you've got to get enough sleep. And so
Or
I've made
rest.
or rest. So I have made sure that I am not overbooking. I am getting outside, although we're going to be 103 next week, so outside's a little getting to be a little iffy. The pool is getting nice and warm, so that's going to happen today. I've made sure to enjoy my oodles and their antics. So lots of oodle pictures are going up because that's me saying I need to smile and I need to lighten my mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also made sure that I'm getting into bed on time. So even if I'm not sleeping, my body is prone, my head is down, I'm letting
Mm-hmm.
the cells regenerate, which makes me feel physically better in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Because grief
Exactly.
just takes it out of you sometimes.
It Grief is hard work. It's like think of cardiovascular for the brain and you
Right.
sweat and you need to replenish. So I would say to put those two together, rest and hydration. And I don't mean with alcohol or coffee. I mean water or herbal tea. Yeah, it's still 10 o'clock in the morning. I've already had 3 cups.
This is my third,
It's
and after
noon
that, it's
here.
water.
I'm done. What?
Yes. This is my third cup, and after that, it's back to water.
That's
Right.
right. Exactly. Exactly. So so after acceptance is coffee. I mean, not coffee. Well, yes.
Coffee.
After acceptance, get that first cup in. So is is another self-care is rest and hydration.
The other thing that's important is asking for help and
Yes.
assigning tasks,
Or
because
letting go of tasks.
you want to check in with people. Stephen, thank you. Coffee is an absolute must.
It is.
He's got a bun coffee maker, and you know you're serious if you've got one of those monsters. So you need to make sure that you're checking in on the people who are the primaries around you, because they need support too. But also, are they available to do some of the things? Can you assign out things? So, for instance, this morning I was up early because I'm actually sleeping at my mom's because we still got people there. And her bedroom is Eastern Light. So, 6 in the morning, that room is daylight central. Dogs and I are up. So, I excavated some boxes that needed sorting. And now my sister is going to come sort those today, because that's me not taking that part on. It's I'm doing some, she's doing
Mm-hmm.
some, we sort it out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Boxes needed to be shipped. Those went to Carrie, she shipped. It's asking for the help, right? It's asking friends to come by and share that cup of coffee or the occasional
Yes.
glass of wine to let it all drop down.
Absolutely. Last week, it was real interesting as I was going through this overwhelm, grief processing, um, I said, "Oh, and Daniel, we can do, so Daniel was supposed to be speaking, and he did it from his home, perfect. But he didn't say to me, but he almost did. If I wouldn't have said, I, how about you just do it on your own? He goes, I was going to suggest that, right? Because I could not be involved in one more thing. And there were other things that I I burnt all the food for the party on Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
I could salvage a lot, and I did. There was plenty of food, and there's still plenty of food. But I could not balance, juggle, church stuff, checking on church every day, supporting my husband as he went through blah blah, and making a big party.
Hmm.
It was.
Yeah.
So I let go of the church thing. I let go. I said, okay. And that's also part of self-care, is like, what don't you have to do?
Right. I actually was supposed to be teaching a college course this summer, and I sent an email and said, I'm really sorry, and I know this may be short notice, but I don't have it in me intellectually,
Mm-hmm.
cognitively, emotionally. I can't pull something like that together and make it quality work. And if you'll forgive me and allow me to do it a different time, I'd love to. But I'm not the instructor you want right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah,
can't do that right now.
that's right. That is absolutely right. To allow yourself that grace,
Hmm.
take the chance that you're going to disappoint,
Hmm.
and to really to be part of a flow rather than feel like you're swimming upstream and drowning.
Yeah. And then there's also making sure you're watching out for others who are experiencing these losses at the same
Mhm,
time. In our family, when I
mhm.
was giving the eulogy, I acknowledged that my brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law, and my wife have all lost parents in the very recent history, and
Yes,
including two of them just within months,
that's right.
and
That's right.
several of them to dementia as well. So there were so many crossovers. And so there's more than just the one grief. There's layer upon layer going on, which is typical for many families when you start losing parents, because we tend to lose parents as groups. So
Yes,
right, so there's generally extra losses going on. Well, then how do you check in on those folks? How do you make sure you're saying, I know that I'm being a little snippy, but you get permission to be snippy too if you need to, because this
exactly.
just sucks,
You know,
right?
some there is there is a musical called Avenue Q,
Mm-hmm.
and I have used this many times. There is a song in there that goes, "It sucks to be me. It sucks to be me." And sometimes I'll say, "It sucks to be you. It
Mm-hmm.
sucks to be us." I mean, Daryl and I were horribly snippy those first 24 hours. We were just, "Meow." And that is totally normal.
That's common in a natural disaster. That's not something. Sometimes disaster volunteers who are new to it, they jump right in. They can't wait to help, and they end up with people who are not super
Uh-uh.
kind, but that's because they're traumatized.
Right. The tree guy was so kind. He really was. He goes, "It's okay. Then this, then that. And it's a holiday weekend. It's going to be expensive. Just saying." But when we were there, he says, "We got this." The let let yourself feel the care and concern that others will show.
Say
I
thank
think
you for
that's
it
really important. Yeah.
and
So
share
when
the humor.
share the oh, I didn't do it because I didn't want anybody, I thought it was too unsafe in case they really did it. I wanted to put free firewood, cut yourself. Yeah.
Free tabletops. Come on now.
Free table. Oh,
Free
yeah,
that
yeah.
makes a lovely mantle.
Oh my gosh.
Can you
Yes.
imagine? Yeah,
Oh,
after the service for my friend Mona's mom yesterday, there was a reception,
uh-huh.
and the reception was winding down, and there was food left over. They'd had it catered, and the people kind of hemming and hawing, and I'm like, hey, she said, let's package up. Our parents were Depression era kids. We grew up with them. We do not let food go to waste.
No.
And out comes the caterer with the Ziploc baggies and the extra plates, and everything got packaged. And she was telling folks this will be in the freezer at the house because you don't let things go to waste because mama wouldn't have it, right? That is how you do things. And we could laugh about it. That wasn't tears. That was sharing and doing the things they wanted. Steve is saying, today I'm donating Harrell's power chairs to a friend that works with veterans who need them. Grieving, yes,
Yes.
but at the same time, actually feeling relief that his wishes are being kept. Good for you, Steve.
Yeah. And that's sort of like Viktor Frankl, finding meaning.
Finding meaning. Mm-hmm.
And so, Steve, you are finding meaning and with Harrell's chairs. They mean something and they will help to serve others.
And you're sharing Harrell's story too.
That's right.
Which
That's
keeps
right.
Harrell alive. At the service yesterday, the priest actually referenced Coco, the movie. I was
Really?
Yes, this is not the usual homily. Love this.
No.
And then he had the soloist sing Remember Me.
Oh, I have goosebumps. You just saying
Right.
that.
That's just that is, he said, it's the perfect grief movie. I'm like, yes, it is.
It
Yes,
is.
Thank
It
you for saying
is.
it. Because that's what you want to do. You want to make meaning out of the memories and you want to remember the person. Right?
Yes. Yes.
I lost another friend last week, Sandy. She lived in Florida, and her memorial was the same day we interred my mom. And they just did it at a little clubhouse, but they had everybody who was out of state send in the Sandy stories. So they could share the dog rescues and the gardening and the getting through hurricanes and right? Giving meaning and memory.
They did that during COVID with our cousin Paul, who died in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And we all were supposed to send in, like, what's a story, da 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 da. I just love that. I just love that. So
we want to make sure you're taking care of yourself, number one.
yes. Yes.
You're helping to make sure, but not being the caretaker necessarily of those co-grievers around you.
Mm-hmm.
Finding meaning in the loss, but you're carving out time for yourself. And finally, I think that expectations are realistic. You can't do it all right now.
That goes back to the beginning. Accept yourself, what you're able to do. And let yourself, I mean, this is great advice. When someone says, how can I help? Say, let me think about it. And be willing to say, I could use a Grubhub card. Right?
That has been such a nice thing to discover around here because so many people are so far away. But those Grubhub cards came in hugely handy.
Yeah, I know you wrote, and I figured that's what it was. We presented with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Deb. Great discussion today, and thank you for sharing. Thank you, Deb, for listening.
And for being here. And for those who are listening, please share the podcast.
Yes.
We're small, but we're mighty, and we're sometimes funny. And the podcast is available, and you can find the links on Facebook at Humor, Grace, and Grief, or facebook.com/Friday Grief Chat. That is where all the things Jill and Deb reside, in addition to our pages, which are also linked. So we want to make sure that we are helping folks who are grieving find their way through, and those who are helping grievers help in a way that makes sense.
And for all the people that have experienced loss through yet again more shootings this past week, our hearts go out to you. I'm not going to say thoughts and prayers because you're going to
I'm so tired of
say
thoughts and
BS.
prayers.
It's lost its meaning. But our hearts go out to you. I I wish it was different.
Yep. We
I
wish
wish
that
it
we
was.
could. We wish we could stop the shootings. In the meantime, we're there in any way we can be, and we hope that
Mhm.
those who are experiencing those losses are taking the words today and the other days and giving themselves the space they need
The
and
grace.
and
Give yourself grace.
the grace, and give
Permission.
yourself permission to have all the emotions. Right?
That's
Look at
right.
pull up emojis, look at all of them, and realize that those are all emotions. And you're
Yeah.
allowed to have all of them, including the cat with the fire coming out of their ears if you need to be that.
Yes. Oh
Right?
yeah. Yeah.
And you can
We
smile
should
too and
do
be
a grief
happiness and blow
thing.
rainbows. Yes.
We need to do a grief thing in and like 52 ways with some of them, and we'll just rearrange them because nothing is in a straight line.
In fact, this week, if you get a chance, post the emojis that represent grief to you. All the emojis.
Yes.
The good, the bad, the
Yes.
ugly, the funny, the whatever. Post some emojis for us so that we can create our own humor, grace, and grief emoji board because there are so many. And if
There
you're
are.
artistic and create your own, like my nephew's partner Gabriella is like a terrific artist. Make some emojis for us. Let's see what people have.
I would love that. And you could put the barf emoji in there because sometimes if people say one more thing or they ask something one more time, you're just going to barf.
Right? Just stop
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so many things. I am writing the book. What did you just say to me? It's some I haven't figured out the exact title. There was another one related to stupid stuff, but
Yeah.
figuring it
Yeah.
out because I thought I'd heard it all, and then I heard more this time around, and
Yes. I
I
bet
am
you
just
did.
so tired of it. Yep,
Yep.
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 Mhm.
Oh, all right. Everybody, thank you for being part of this broadcast and podcast. If you aren't listening live, you may be listening later. And Jill and I really appreciate that.
We do
Thank
indeed.
you.
Have a good week, a good weekend. I hope everyone stays safe in the heat dome across the entire United States this week. And we will see you back here next Friday. Come
Yes.
anything else, we will both be here. Put our
Yes.
hands together, hug our hearts. Deep breath in. Let's go do Festa Friday, everyone. Bye, everybody.